A psychologist, Artur Janov, taught me and other psychotherapists to focus on the client's childhood unsatisfied needs, preferably emotional needs, I would say, and consequently on the client's recognition and experience of the painful feelings that this dissatisfaction triggered. What are the client's childhood unmet emotional needs? These are the needs for the presence of parents, belonging, peace in the house, needs for touch, hug, affection, for support, play, jokes, humor, for patience and encouragement in learning, the need for someone to listen carefully, respect our feelings, try to understand them, etc. And what are the painful feelings that the unfulfillment of those needs trigger? These are feelings of pain, misery, sadness, bitterness, anger. Why do I say that it is necessary to recognize and experience painful feelings? Janov didn't use this phrase in his writings. This is my way to describe the process of therapy in a nutshell. Recognition refers more to the intellectual, cognitive side of the client's discovery of those unsatisfied needs. That is, to insight into which of their needs were unmet. And experiencing concerns the emotional response to those shortcomings and losses. It is not enough that the client only knows what he was missing, and it is not enough that he only experiences pain and cries about something without knowing why. It is necessary to connect the insight with the emotion that accompanies that insight. There are clients who have quite good insights about what happened to them in the family. It helps them a little, they feel better, but fundamentally they don't change. Also, there are clients who are close to their emotions, cry easily, and can cry a lot and often, but either they don't know exactly why they cry, or they miss the cause of the pain. In order to have a therapeutic effect, it is necessary for the client to guess exactly what he didn't get in the family, the cause of the pain, and to surrender to that touching and painful emotion to the end. How does recognizing and experiencing one's childhood unsatisfied needs help if it is all gone and can't be corrected? It helps someone get rid of tension and their neurosis. That is the goal of psychotherapy, not to change the past. The goal of psychotherapeutic treatment focused on feelings, such as the emotional method, is to turn festering wounds in the soul into scars. And the scars remain. They cannot be erased, of course. But the effect of releasing pain from the body are great, sometimes incredible. Would I correct Janov in some way? Explain some of the primal therapy failures or add something that he overlooked in his books? In his books, especially in his first and most famous book, The Primal Scream, Janov focused too much on decisively breaking the client's defenses with various techniques such as isolation in a hotel room, sleep deprivation, deep breathing, provoking the client with some comments, etc. This was later abandoned, but the fixation on the painful side of the client's experience remained. Pain is the name of the game. Encouraging painful experiences, anger, suffering, was a misdirection which caused many misunderstandings of the essence of primal theory and therapy. By emphasizing the drama of strong emotions in therapy, Janov gained the attention of the audience but lost the precision of his message, and thus, in the long run, he lost a wider scientific support for his discovery. In the last decades of his life, Janov treated the negative consequences of focusing on the painful, unpleasant, dramatic side of primal therapy by fighting against the phenomenon of abreaction in therapy. Namely, it was observed that many clients and therapists confused abreaction, that is, false, useless emotional therapeutic experience, with primal, authentic, emotional therapeutic experience. That's why Janov had to write a lot about it, about the difference between whining and genuine deep crying, but for many clients and experts it was already too late. Primal therapy was declared controversial, to say the least, in the 60s and 70s of the 20th century. What I think was the reason behind Janov's mistake. Janov's theory about children's unsatisfied needs is completely correct. However, therapy was misunderstood and misused by many. It is not good to trigger painful, negative and difficult life experiences in the client without a good internal support system for that pain. Janov, especially in the beginning, but also to a significant extent until the end of his life, assumed that all people have an internal support system built in them by the nature of things, which allows them to chew and digest every pain from the past without problems. It was enough for the therapist to trigger that pain with some techniques and interventions, and that pain must be resolved. However, in many cases, it does not happen by itself automatically. It may have worked for some clients, but it didn't for many. Pain should be approached from the positive side, not from the negative side. Start by asking the client to tell you about the happiest moments of his life. Encourage the client to talk about positive, good, beautiful life experiences. Remembering good experiences immediately activates everything else that was good and magic in the client's life, and that creates that positive background, that good psychological environment where the painful side of life events is digested more easily, better and faster. We help client to collect during the treatment everything that was pleasant, good, healthy, invigorating, so that he would be much better prepared to process and integrate the bad that life brought. One would say we empower the ego to better integrate the pain. We can also say things that way. This preparation of the client, in addition to collecting pleasant, empowering experiences, also implies work on changing the value system, because without this, a change of the client's personality cannot be carried out. The most obvious example is the deep assumption of many clients that crying is a sign of weakness, that only children cry, that crying does not solve anything, and that it is a shame. Without changing this attitude, through conversations with the client, which means introducing an element of cognitive psychotherapy, we cannot expose the client to painful memories without creating confusion and clogging for him. Because if the client is completely convinced that crying is something bad, then he is not able to experience and resolve the experience that causes tears and crying. That way we bring the client into a state of confusion. That is why work on correcting the value system is also necessary in psychotherapy, and that was not given enough attention in primal therapy. We mentioned that there are two types of emotional reactions in therapy. One is false and useless, and the other is real and authentic. Can we explain it a little bit better? Just as there are other real and fake things, so it is with tears and crying. A neurotic person tends to express his feelings in a neurotic way. If she had tried in the right way until now, she would have solved her neurosis by herself, with a little help of an empathetic friend. She wouldn't even need a psychotherapist. It is always a false cry for a false cause. Pathetic crying happens when the reason for crying is pathetic. It all looks somewhat similar to real crying, but it's still not the same. It's even fundamentally different. Fake crying is often more like whining. You don't feel deeply moved and empathized by what you are watching and listening to. It's more like acting. Real crying moves you. You feel that someone has finally connected things in the right way and almost involuntarily bursts into tears. Unexpected pain flows spontaneously from the person, which has a liberating, cathartic effect, and when it stops, the person immediately feels much better, relieved and deeply relaxed. Artur Janov's teaching is revolutionary in psychotherapy, but it can also be improved and refined so that we can help as many clients as possible even faster. Thank you.